Hi everyone, my name's Tom. My call sign is VE3YTN, and I'm a member of the Barrie Amateur Radio Club here in Barrie. And basically we're an organization that promotes amateur radio to the community. And we offer training and we offer community services to various community groups, such as we did some communications for Run for the Cure in Barrie, where we positioned various amateur radio operators throughout the route, can help organizers keep track of what's going on. We also did an event in Springwater where we basically looked after various spots for parking and got back to the organizers there, letting them know this lot is full or where's the shuttle bus and all that sort of thing. So that's essentially a lot of things that we do in terms of community services. Now, the club started in the mid-60s by a bunch of like-minded radio operators, and officially didn't get organized into a corporate entity in the province until about the mid-80s. And so that's when they became an official club in terms of the province and whatnot. As I mentioned, the club also runs a local repeater, whereby we can provide communication across Barrie, parts of Simcoe County, and offer those services to various organizations when they ask us or when the need arises. So I mentioned community events, we do that. Some of the other things is the club also has a social aspect to it. We get together monthly for meetings, and on a weekly basis, several club members, maybe as many as 10, will meet at a local coffee shop, McDonald's, for coffee and just social friendship and fellowship to get together in that way. What is amateur radio? Well, if you think of radio, we have all kinds of different radio communications. If you look at the radio spectrum, starts from very low frequencies. For instance, your hydro lines. You may have noticed as you're driving and you're listening to an AM radio, you get that all of a sudden static buzz. That's a radio wave coming into your radio, which is kind of annoying. And it's maybe down at 60 cycles per second. And it goes all the way up into the gigahertz range, where your X-rays, your wireless internet and cell phones operate. So amateur radio fits in that spectrum along the line somewhere, whereas same as radio, local radio and television also use certain parts of that spectrum. The difference is that amateurs are licensed to use certain parts of that spectrum for non-commercial communication, whereas B101 and Rock 95 are commercial entities using other parts of that spectrum. So we can communicate in those areas with other hams across the world, across the country, or locally. And that form of communication started off in the early 19th century. A fellow named Marconi, you may have heard of him, but anyways, they use what they call spark plug transmitters. So that 60 hertz cycle buzzing you hear, if you can arrange that in a way to stop and start that buzzing, that was the onset of Morse code communication. You run it for a short burst and then a long burst, short burst and long burst in a Morse code type of sequence. And that's how they started off communicating with each other. In fact, the Titanic sent their messages, their Mayday messages, that way. Obviously, there's probably many reasons why you would join or want to be part of a club or even pick up the hobby. Maybe you have an interest in electronics. Maybe you have an interest in the magic of communicating from your location without any intermediate infrastructure to another station in North America, across the world. I mean, that seems appealing to a lot of people, right? It's just you, your station, whatever you can build, put together, the antennas you can put up, the radio you use. That interests a lot of people. It has a certain amount of independence to it, right? It gives you that feeling of independence. The other aspect would be, and we have a segment in our club that it's called the Wireless Amateur Experimenter Group. They like to, we like to fix things. Some people like to build their own radio and get satisfaction. You can build a small kit radio that might only put out 5 watts. You can take it out in the field and maybe go backcountry hiking, throw out a wire and communicate. So there's those aspects, the computer aspects of it. It's a challenge. A lot of people are looking for an outlet for their expertise, so to speak, right? And also the social aspect. You get together with like-minded individuals, and talk about what you're doing, what new things you learn. A lot of, during COVID, which was interesting, we had a lot of YouTube or type of presenters that would present to the club, and they could be in California, they could be in Puerto Rico, wherever, and passed on a lot of knowledge that way. Just during COVID again, you may not know it, but on the International Space Station, some of the astronauts are also amateur radio operators. In fact, they do have an amateur station on board, and when they're not busy doing their official tasks, they will use that. And if you track them, there's certain apps you can track where they are in the sky. And you can then, using a handheld radio, if they're on the air, you can have a quick, short little contact with them, right? And during COVID, they had a program where they would transmit, this is another aspect, what they call slow scan TV. You may have heard of it. It's basically scanning slowly, and it transmits over the air an actual image. And so they would do that. They had, I think, about 12 images, and as they flew over, you might get one image, and you wait for the next pass, maybe in 90 minutes, and you try to catch them again. And you collect those 12 images of the space station, whatever they're transmitting at the time, right? Why we're here at Chapel Farms is, and I want to thank Chapel Farms for the last several years having given us permission to set up our field day event. Now, what is Field Day? Basically, Field Day is the amateur radio community's open house. We set up in a field. It's organized through the American Amateur Radio Relay League, as well as our Canadian national organization, Radio Amateurs of Canada. And one of the prime purposes, like I said, open house, it's also to showcase the science, the operation, the technology involved, and to bring it to the public awareness. And the other aspect, it demonstrates our ability to set up anywhere, basically, for emergency purposes. For instance, emergency purposes, several years ago, I'm reminded there was the terrific hurricanes in Puerto Rico. There was an amateur radio station. If you recall, all the communications were lost during that time. There was an amateur radio station that stayed operating for over 72 hours, communicating back to the mainland and states, telling them what they needed, what the situation was like before actual regular communications were brought on board. So that's part of the field day. Now, when we're doing this on a scheduled event all across North America, it's not an emergency in this case. So the governing organization has made it into a bit of a contest. So we get out and we try to make as many contacts as possible with stations all across North America, even as far as Europe and whoever, that they can also participate. They don't particularly set up in the field, but they may contact us or we might contact them. And so we set up several tents, 2 tents. We'll have maybe 3 or 4 stations. If you do come out, you'll see a tower that we put up, a small tower with some wire antennas. And we provide, part of all of that is how to keep a crew going. We have food, and drinks, and we basically operate for 24 hours. We start Saturday at 2 p.m. with the operation, and we finish at 2 p.m. the following day. So we're on the air for 24 hours, and we'll have people working there at night. There might be a quiet time when nobody's there, but we try to do that. We usually set up Saturday morning, around 9 o'clock start. This empty field you see here will just all of a sudden have tents and towers and cables all over the place, right? We also provide our own power. It's a complete remote, self-sustained operation. So if any of this interests you, we'd certainly invite you to come out on Saturday, see what's going on. Like I said, might be able to sit in and listen to what's going on. And as well, the club, like I mentioned, offers courses. If you want to get your license to become an amateur radio operator, check out our website, barriearc.com. And like I said, our courses are run every spring. We usually have a good online session. And come on out, enjoy it. It's free to come out, see who's there, see what's going on, and take it from there if it's something that you're interested in.